Hi there, it's Salem. Here's a quick summary and trigger warnings for this video. If you enjoy this one and want to see more like it, likes, comments, subscribing, or becoming a channel member helps let me know. You can say hello to me on all of these sites here. Now on to the video. I hope you rest well. Ash and dust is what there is, mostly. You can't see it, but you can feel it. The way the skies are heavy with it. The way the oceans choke on it. Inescapably. Fireflies carelessly spread their light. They share themselves greedlessly with the world. You understand that this is the inversion of that. Flecks of gray and cold floating to the sky. Unnatural and not with the hope of escape. Instead, with the intention to let not even the clouds escape their cold and their dark, to rain back down, to have themselves caught in an endless cycle of infecting the sky, infecting the land, infecting the seas, infecting the sky, infecting the land. It's a horror that doesn't seem to even ring a note in the chasm where a heart once beat in your chest. Physically, sure, it's still there. Emotionally, spiritually, less so. It's hard to remember the first time it happened, the moment of it, or anything after, really. Anything specific. The first time your wings beat through air so thick it left them dirty with soot. Even when your skin was sticky with it. You didn't even notice. There would be times later, plenty of the same, so why bother to make note of it? Had you been present enough, though, would have known that you felt cold. That was a strange sensation for you, coldness. You weren't meant for cold. You were meant for life, and light, and fire. Not the kind of fire that burns the world like this. But the kind of fire that people flock to for comfort, for warmth, for home. What went wrong? You had no guide for any of it. The first of your kind to go it alone, as it were. You're not a reflection of this world. The world isn't a reflection of you. It's not that simple. You have a relationship. You're tied together. And when you fall, the world stumbles. When you soar, the world is light. The world is happy. But when the world is dark, its shadow falls over you. It's not fair, perhaps. Not for either of you. But that's life, right? At least that's what people say. And now, when your heart, when that space in your chest, a ceaseless engine of fire and heat, if it seems empty, that flame must have gone somewhere. To burn is the nature of all other things now. And the nature of you is to burn them. Heat and fire. They returned to you eventually, but it was so very distant, so far away. Bile burned in a stomach that was too empty to manage an evacuation. So instead, you just choked on a sob. You didn't understand what was happening. How could you? How should you? You don't know this world. You're learning still. Acquaintance is at best with it. You know the sun. You know the air. You know closeness and privacy. You haven't met the shadows yet. Well, I guess that's not true. They introduce themselves to you now, it seems. A shudder passes through those shadows, through the inky dark of them. The things casting them, shaped like trees, but you would never call them that. They fill your vision in every direction, bleeding together into a hazy ocean with no horizon to break it. It yawns, this dark, in the distant deepness of these woods. A maw stretching wide and ready to swallow you up. It roars in a silence that feels like you might never hear another thing. It rattles the hidden parts of you, and it makes it unquestionable that this, a place whose soil holds more secrets than one person could fathom, there is nothing about you. This place does not hold the power to flay open and lay bare. This is a place where the trees are hollow. Their bark rots unnaturally, and the skeletons of things that were maybe once trees, petrified past the point of ivory, instead into charcoal black. A place where you are the worst of yourself, the worst of the world. Charcoal. Fire, 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 you wonder. It must be helpful here, right? That's your bastion. That's the island you swim to. That's the sun that lives in your belly. There's comfort there. Memories that you have, though. Things you haven't done but have no guarantee that you will not. They stop you for a moment. Memories of a cindered world. it's never existed. But it could. You hesitate to call for your spark, but it comes to you, however hesitantly. You can feel it searching for you. But its heat is distant, further than it should be, and more minuscule than you could have imagined as you claw it into existence with a push you shouldn't have to make. It comes at your call, however unwillingly, lighting up the world around you in a flash of sickly orange, a jaundice that spreads pathetic attempts at heat and light. It doesn't extinguish. Your conjuring is temporary, only a flash of flame to conserve your energy. Just enough to light your way, just for a moment, in some vain hope of finding a trail, finding a way out. Something inside you knows that even to fly up, to push your way through the shroud of trees and whatever else lies above you, you know you'll only end up back on this soil. Even those brief moments of heat and light are too much for this place. You feel the weight. Not physical, not to your body, but you feel the dark. You feel the fear, managing to find home in the hollows of your spine. That, though, it's not fear of any supernatural kind. That's homegrown fear, all your own. Still, that's not all. It's not all yours. There is a fear that is given to you, too, foisted upon you as you realize what this place is, what it feels. This is the fear of this place. This is how it feels to have your soul cracked open, examined, studied, known, and utterly despised, hated for every inch of it. The things that are beyond your body, beyond your mind. The very essence of your existence. You feel the depth with which this place despises you, yes, but in a more general, theological sense, I suppose. It despises. It is sick with a rot no other place has ever known. And it is contagious. A whimper slides from your throat. Your fear does not bring the corpses of these woods any satisfaction. To hate is its nature, not its pleasure. You take your second step into the woods, despite all of this. Cowardice is not of your kind. A mantra as you take your third step. Your fourth, your fifth are no easier, nor your 10th. Perhaps you would become accustomed to the darkness of this place, you had thought. The journey into this place is not to meander from the world, to slowly separate yourself from it. To journey here. It is to have the rubble of a cave collapse, to cut you away from the entrance suddenly, to drench you in the dark. Cowardice is not of your kind. Cowardice is not of your kind. The smell of magic. Not the disgusting, putrid magic that suffuses this place. If that can even be called magic at all. No. The smell of a magic that is gold and ichor, the smell of sweet words, and a resonance this place cannot seem to shake the tune of, pulls you in further. You don't dare to make more sound than necessary. You're careful not to click the claws to the button in your pocket. but you do grasp it with a ferocity that squeezes every ounce of safety you can muster from it. You're not sure how long it's been. You've always had the sun, the moon, at least the stars, to tell your days and to point your way. But this place seems to purposefully obscure the sky. The rare glances you've managed. You push the thought from your mind that the crescent moon and the void of sky above you, it doesn't seem to follow the path that it should. Dismissing it as imagination. Instincts are a difficult thing to fight, particularly when you find yourself so distracted. The dark of a moonless night is rare, but you've found yourself lost in it a time or two. It's never frightened you. Light was never far away. Warmth was never far away. The push for it comes automatically. Breathing that sickly orange into your palms. You don't think about it until it's too late. A spark was one thing. Not less despised, but more quickly despised. This time, no. A reach for fire. True fire. The sort that you would never tell anybody this, but you think might only be possible from you. Saw it. And you knew when the forest yawned that the roar was coming. The growl of it brought the bile of your belly up into your esophagus. It shook the hollow parts of you. And you can feel how this place desperately, it needs you to be sick. You feel it ripple through your body, through your bones. Oh, God, you can feel your bones push uncomfortably against the flesh of your back. Your vertebra threatening to evacuate your body, making you suddenly aware of how feeble the skin really is as you are almost pushed out of your body into something much more primal than the body you wear now. You would have been. You know that. Even as you try to desperately spit the taste of bile from the back of your throat. There's a voice. It's soft, and it slides through this darkness like a scalpel, made for cutting away flesh that's rotted into whatever comes after necrosis. It's not gold and it's not ichor, and it doesn't resonate with the sweet tune that you follow. But it sounds like one you might manage a march to for a time. Your own warmth. Real warmth. Not a flash of flame. Returns to you as you feel a tail wrapping around your own. And it's soft. It's soft against your scales, as is the second one. As is the third, as is the skin of the delicate hands that twine fingers between yours. Delicate but strong and steady. You're safe, it tells you. So much as they can manage. They speak not only to you, but to the forest. You can't make sense of anything in your head. Not right now. Your belly still feels sick, your throat raw, your head an unsortable mess. So maybe it was just a trick, just imagination, but you think that somehow the kindness extended to you in that voice. This man gives it to the forest as well. It's a deceptively young voice. You're new to this world, but you can hear the force of ages that steadies it. You don't remember the walk that came after. It was hobbling. But you remember the moon. You remember the way it seemed to begrudgingly fall back along its proper path. And you remember the dirt began to feel again like it supported you from under the bare soles of your feet. No longer hoping to swallow you up and no longer hungering. You remember the body, too, that supported you. If you had the presence of mind to be embarrassed, you might be over how tightly you held on to this stranger. They didn't seem to mind. To look at this place hurt just a little bit. But it didn't feel intentional. Not the forest, no. Where your hobbling had taken you to. This temple, shrine. You're not sure. It's in the forest, but it is not the forest. Different. Older. My home, the fox says, as if to correct you. You can't be certain you weren't speaking. It smells of soil and rotten wood here still. But those smells are thick and rich, natural now. It reminds you a little bit of the moss and dew at your home on high. It's made even denser here as the rich smell of incense pools around you. The smoke of it dancing at your ankles. The light here is warm. Yellow and orange. Like that of twilight, rather than the jaundice of your earlier strangled flames. Even with memories hazy, clouded by incense smoke, you're sure that you did very little of the walking to get yourself up those wooden steps. The fox's slight build, betrayed by the strength with which he hauls your scales and skin into his home. into a floor warmed by the earth beneath it, into the sound of water bubbling and a kettle whistling, into a place where you can feel your bones finally setting back into all their proper places. You haven't been to many homes, really. Even with your wings, homes, the actual kind, with a roof and a stove, and a love that you can feel permeating the walls and the floorboards. They've always been far. But this is a home. Was a home, at least. You can feel that. And you cry. But not alone. You're held. And you're fed. And you're treated kindly. You're wrapped in a blanket, which is a little bit of a silly thing to do to a dragon. You don't need it. When you're cloaked in it, though, you pull it so very tight to yourself. The gods themselves could not tear it from you. Warmth of a different kind. You're in a scary place. But you're safe. To march through is your only option. Later. You will do it. But you will not do it alone.